Hey everybody, welcome back to Reachin Reverie, and thank you so much for choosing this video to watch today. I did decide to film earlier in the morning, that way we can avoid some of those afternoon gusty winds that we get in the area. Today on the property, I'm going to bring you guys along a little bit. I'm going to show you what we've started working on this weekend, and then you're also going to get to see some clips as we continue on. I usually have been filming our weekly updates after we've already completed all the work for the week, but it's a long weekend with it being the 4th of July weekend, Independence Day here in America. So we are going to be working all weekend long, and I thought I would bring you guys along and show you some updates along the way. So today is Saturday morning, and Josh and his friend Daniel have been working really hard already. Yesterday they started on a fun project, and we are getting a structure built and put up this weekend. See what we've got going on over here. This is it, and this is going to be a solid structure. We are welding it all together. This isn't a pop-up structure. This isn't something that we, just put together in a day. This will last years. So this structure is 16 feet tall on this side, and it's going to be 18 feet tall on that side. That way we can pull the RV in and it sit right there. And this is going to be wide enough that we can have the pop outs extended and it completely remain under the protection of this structure. So you can see this is 20 feet wide and it goes 40 feet back, and the RV will fit right there. And we're going to have the roof put on. You can see the metal sitting over there in the distance, and the roof is going to go slightly at an angle to increase up to the 18 feet on this. So today Josh and Daniel are going to be adding the C-purling and the supports. We wanted to build something super strong because we get a lot of wind out here, if you didn't notice from our last video. And that last video where I was filming in the evening and had to voice over the majority of the video, that was but a gentle breeze for West Texas. In the spring especially, and in the winter months, and then also kind of in our monsoon season, which we're coming up on our monsoon season now, we regularly will get on a daily basis very, very high winds, like where the low wind for the day is like 35 miles an hour, gusting up to 75. It almost feels like always under a high wind warning. So we wanted to build something that would stand the test of time and really invest in a structure that would be supportive and protective of our RV that we're going to put right here. I did want to show you guys an update on our little curve-billed thrasher chick. So follow me this way. So this is our nest where we have the curve-billed thrasher, and I can hear the mom in the distance. The parents are still in the area. However, we have an empty nest, and that is nature. I came out here a couple days ago to check on the chick, and it was missing, and there were little crushed up eggshells in the nest. And I will show you guys a picture here now. This is what we think was the culprit. Looks like a raccoon made itself some dinner. So I've been seeing a curve-billed thrasher nearby in the trees around every single day. So at least the parent survived and they can have another chance again at raising up some little ones, but that is the way that it works. I mean, just this morning, Josh and I were looking at an area where we saw fox tracks, and we're seeing a lot of scat or animal poo droppings all over the property and tracks everywhere. So we do have quite a bit of wildlife, and with new wildlife also comes dead wildlife. You know, I just walked 50 feet and there's another nest right here, and I've seen at least a dozen bird nests on this property from different species. We found hummingbird nest, the curve-billed thrasher nest, what appears to be little cactus wren nests. So, you know, there's still hope. We're gonna get to see plenty of little birds growing up here on the property in the years to come. Well, as you can see, the sun is officially up and risen. We have a high of 90 degrees today, which is actually a relatively cool day here in July. So we're going to take advantage of it and try to push through and work really hard today. Josh and Daniel working on this RV shade structure and me working on, you guessed it, more wood chipping. So we're gonna get to work, and I wanted to start the video showing you guys what we had done so far, and I'm gonna continue on giving you guys updates right now. So we're about an hour into the day and I'm about to start chipping. I used my pruning shears that are hanging over in the tree right there to take a pile that was all up in this area, and I had to cut down the limbs into more manageable sizes. As you typically, for the wood chipper, it really can only handle like single stems at a time. If you get a lot of branching, it'll get hung up at the opening of this wood chipper. So now I am ready to start chipping. Meanwhile, the men, they have got their first sea pearling up. So they're working super hard over there. I'm working moderately over here. Gotta kick it into gear. Right, so now I gotta turn this thing on. So this should have enough gas in it. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, we're still good there. So we need to make sure we turn the gas on, have the choke down, machines on, and then we're gonna crank it. You can do it. There we go. And then I'm going to turn the choke on. So what I'm doing here is I'm grabbing individual mesquite branches and I'm running them through the chute. This did take a little bit of prep work, as I did have to section off the plants and branches and cut them down with my pruning shears into individual stems. Mesquite does like to grab each other and me with their long thorns. The thorns also tend to grab the chipping chute, so I do have to guide them into the chipper. The chipping machine is self-feeding, so once the branches get to the bottom of the chute, it does pull them right on through. I do use a log as a guide instead of my hands for safety, because since it pulls it through so fast, I wouldn't want the thorns to get caught on my glove and try to jerk me into the machine, so we're going to stick with using a log. I also stand off to the side as the wood chips do shoot out both ends. This process of getting the pile set up took me about an hour to prep, And then it only took me about 20 minutes to run each of these branches through the chute. So once you get going with the chipper, it tends to move right on smoothly. Another pile done. You're sitting in that tree. 25 minutes. Came out mostly unscathed. But you know what? When we're dealing with mesquite, I take that as a win. And this guy did a really good job. It's coming out really nice. Now I have one more pile up at the front of the property, and then I'll be all caught up with wood chipping until Josh decides to pull out more trees, and then we'll get this started over again. All of this little stuff that's left over, I'm just gonna rake up into a pile that we could use for either smoking meat or maybe like a little campfire pile. So now it's the afternoon on Saturday. We took a little bit of a lunch break. I changed my shirt into something that covered my shoulders a little bit as I was getting a little bit of sun there. And I also changed my shoes back into my hiking boots. I am going to be going and doing more mesquite cutting today, and I did get a couple of pokes up through my shoe this morning working on the pile earlier. The boys, they're doing really good. They've been working hard all day. They stopped for about an hour for lunch, and looking at where they're at now, working on their 4th sea purlin, going up there out of 5. Once they finish these, they're gonna go ahead and do the I think they had 4 caps on the ends and some stringers in between as well that are gonna help support that structure. And then of course the roofing, I don't know if they're gonna get to the roofing today or not, but it's happening this weekend, so really excited about that. The wind is starting to pick up. Of course it is afternoon, but with the wind comes the clouds, and it has just turned into a beautiful afternoon. I was thinking right around lunchtime I might be tapping out for the day, as it was getting up there in the heat, up into the 90s, and now with the cloud cover and the breeze, it's dropped back down to about 85. So got my water, got my new shirt, my new shoes, ready to keep on kicking at it today. Up at the front of the property now, I am going to start using my pruning shears to get this section of mesquite and then that pile over there ready for the chipper. I'm really excited. This is my last little section until I'm caught back up to everything that Josh has pulled out so far. And then of course after this weekend, we're probably gonna start pulling out more. So I'm really excited. I'm caught up and getting ready to move forward with more projects on the property. It feels amazing out here. I'm really glad because this side of the property doesn't have quite as much shade to work under as where I was working. So I'm like, man, I've kind of been putting off this section right here because it's full sun. But I did just hear some thunder in the distance. So hopefully we'll get some overhead cloud cover continuing through the day. That'll just keep us shaded and cool for this project. Well, gonna work itself. So I might as well get all set up and chop this down. This section looks pretty good. Most of these are pretty small, so I won't have to do quite as much pruning. But again, going into the wood chipper, you really have to get it down to just a single stem or a real narrow section to run through without getting caught in the chute. Yeah, this section will be more intense, but I think that section over here is almost ready to go. Just do a little bit of cleaning up and we'll be good there. Look at that, another hole. Still haven't seen any snakes on the property yet. Lots of rabbits and lots of lizards, but I know they're out here, so I have been kind of treading carefully and keeping my eyes open. We do have 7 different types of rattlesnakes that live in this area of far western Texas, so it doesn't hurt to keep your eyes open. All right, what you do for a good shot. Poked myself. You are currently tied up in a mesquite bush, so sit tight, get a good view of the guys over there working, and I will be over here getting this wood ready to go through the chipper. There's little lizards running around under there. I don't know if y'all could see them, but I was gonna tell you guys that while I'm working, I like to listen to the Roots and Refuge podcast, Roots and Refuge Farm. You can check them out anywhere where you can hear podcasts available. I'm listening to it currently on Audible. This is not sponsored. Nobody's paying me to say this, but she has some really great uplifting content, and I really like to listen to her as motivation. She has really good advice for a great mindset, as well as just a lot of homesteading, gardening, good stewardship content. So I'm gonna start this now.
That I was like, whoa.
I'll see you guys in a minute.
You are going to carry something great. If you are going to allow the
Look at how pretty that wood is. So this is where you guys were sitting, just in a little branch. And what I'm doing over here, get all situated. What I'm doing over here is, this is the pile that I already have chopped up all nicely, ready to go into the chipper. And then this is stuff that's either too fine that won't go in the chipper well, or is too bulky, like the big roots. Things like this, I'm not gonna try to put through the chipper. We're just gonna go ahead and put it in the pile for campfires and meat smoking. And then I still have a little bit left to go, but so far, I mean, this has been 20 minutes that y'all were sitting there watching me on time lapse. So we're probably 3/4 of the way through this little pile here, and then I have that one. So I'd say within the next hour or so I should be all prepped and ready to go. Now I am feeling sprinkling on me right now. You can see those dark clouds. You can actually see a heavy shower right there over the mountains. That's probably 2 miles away over there, maybe 3 miles, so not too far. We are still hearing thunder. Some heavy clouds over us, and they are working hard over there. I think that they're about to start their last stringer before they start doing the cross beams. So they're doing good. See, that was my 20-minute timer. I didn't want to leave you guys on time lapse for too long and take all the battery watching me cut up wood. So my little GoPro, he's a good fighter, this little camera, but he has about 45 minutes to an hour battery life. So I didn't want to spend all afternoon just watching me chop wood. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock the rest of this pile out and we'll see how far we get today. So before I get back to work, I just wanted to remind you guys again, I'm about to start my podcast back up. Go check out Roots and Refuge Farm. She has a YouTube channel. She has a couple of YouTube channels and podcasts, and I feel like she is just so uplifting, so positive. Somebody that is, I'm like working hard out here on the homestead. I like listening to her because it's like a mindset of building a future without thinking about how much we're working or how hot it is outside. Like the whole time I'm working, I'm thinking about building a future, building the life I want, living with intention, being a good person, striving to be a better person every day. And so I really feel like listening to that while I'm working helps keep me in the right mindset moving forward to help me not lose sight of goals that I'm shooting for. I would say, like, instead of feeling different for wanting to go and live off the land as much as we can and to be community sufficient and less reliant on our food system, it's really neat to have somebody ahead who's been there and done that and knows the way, almost turning around and holding their hand out to pull the next one up. So right now I'm listening to a podcast about forging friendships. I just finished one this morning on granny skills and going back to forgotten skills that have been lost over the generations, and going back and learning how to do things in a slower, much more in unison with nature and the earth kind of way. And you know, she has all different kinds of content as well on gardening, cooking, things from scratch, all different types of stuff like that. As I'm talking to you guys, look at this. I think that's the biggest one I found yet. Look at that mesquite thorn. That is legitimately wider than my hand. Look at that. That's wider than my arm. Imagine running over one of those with your car. Imagine stepping on one of these with your shoe. So gloves are important, but I've already gotten stuck through my gloves and through my shoes. So this stuff is just insane. Look at that. Holy moly. All right, I'm gonna get back to work. Go check out Roots and Refuge after this video ends. Finish watching this video first though. And if you like what you're seeing, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. We are currently at 916 subscribers, and that to me is so huge, and I'm thankful for every one of you guys. We're so close to 1,000, so don't forget, if you've been watching these videos and they keep popping up on your feed and you enjoy what you see, follow along. If you subscribe, that'll help you stay up to date with our content so you could see what's going on as we literally build this homestead from raw land, the ground up, into the future that we want to live. I love monsoon season. It literally feels like it hasn't rained a day this year. And last week of June, up until here we are, July 6th, it feels like it's rained every afternoon. And we'll take all that we can get. Looks like it's coming this way. You can see the slope from this angle a little bit better than when it was just the poles this morning. And even more so as we come level with it. So it's 16 feet at the highest point on this side and 18 feet over here. It does slope south facing, as most of our storms, as you can see, come from the southwest. The only exception would be in the winter, where it would come from the north. However, living in far western Texas, we're more worried about the heat and the summer weather than we are the winter weather, which is more fleeting. So the reason that this is so tall, I mean, it looks really tall to me, is that the RV sits at 13 feet, a little bit above 13 feet. And Josh wanted some room above the roof of the RV so that he has room to work on the AC if it needs repair. And then there's also a vent at the top of RVs that you can run a hose down to flush the septic systems. And he wanted some playroom up there where he's not having to crawl on top of the RV to essentially do repairs. So he was thinking ahead here and giving us a little bit more headspace above the RV. So here we're gonna have about 2.5, 3 feet at the lowest end of headspace from the RV. I'm gonna go grab my water. I really came over here for a water break. Grab my gloves and my water off the truck. And then let's go get my rake and my pitchfork. And then I guess I'm gonna get my butt back to work and get as much as we can done before the rain hits us, because it does look like it's moving pretty quick. Good morning, everybody. It is now Sunday morning. We are up and at it and getting a little bit of a late start than we normally do. We usually are out here at or before sunrise. Running about 45 minutes late this morning. It was so hard to get up. I feel like trimming those limbs yesterday, I did so many squats and my biceps are hurting from the pruning shears, but it's a good kind of store. And then of course Josh said that he's sore from climbing the 3-level scaffolding yesterday up and down that ladder. Got his stairs in. So now they are putting on the second face this direction from there to there. They're gonna secure it and then go back and weld it on. And then once they get this side on, they'll work on the back side, and all of the horizontal inside beams today are gonna be going on. Depending on how fast they go, they may start on the roofing today, but likely is that will not be today because that roofing is all metal and you don't really want to work on that in the afternoon when it's super hot, and usually our afternoons are really windy. So it would be safer to do that either tomorrow or in the next couple weeks, depending on if Josh's buddy Daniel's available to assist us this weekend. But so far it's been a really nice, productive weekend. Gotten a lot of things done. I am gonna go over here and grab our wood chipper and move it up to the front of the property so that I can start chipping down that pile that I got all ready to go yesterday evening. Alright, so I have finished chipping the wood that we sorted yesterday afternoon up here at the front of the property, and I just wanted to show you guys that's how much wood all of this turned into. And then when you see the other wood chip piles on the property, that kind of gives you an idea of how much we've already chipped down so far. really excited that all of this is going to be able to be recycled on the property instead of having to pay a fortune to haul it out and go dump it at our landfill. It is really good that we're getting to recycle it on our property. And my biggest workout today was hauling the wood chipper 800 feet round trip down the drive and back over to this spot to chip the wood down. It's not very heavy, but it's really low to the ground, and you have to hold the chute downward to lift the kickstand off the ground. So the whole time you're rolling it down and back, you're having to really stoop down low, and it's not very mobile as it looks. So now you can see my little tracks. Now I'm going to go up and we'll see what the guys are working on. And again, by comparison, this is one of the wood chips piles we already have on the property. So we have had to remove quite a few mesquites already just to put this road in, and you can see all of that material is going to be going to good use instead of just being torn down for nothing. I wasn't able to get this on video, but I did just see a road runner at the top of this tree. This tree is at least 15 feet tall, and it glided down and took off running. And it's kind of interesting because you think of road runners as ground birds. They run a lot, but they actually can glide and fly for short periods of time, like to get up into a tree, but they're really gliders. So it was kind of cool to see him fly down. He probably flew 50 or 60 feet and then took off running. Alright everybody, I'm headed back out to the property. I did take a little bit of a break to go run some much needed errands since it's a long weekend. I went grocery shopping for the week, did some laundry, and now I am on my way back to the property to take Josh some lunch. Daniel, he already did take a lunch and is back at it working, so I'm just gonna bring Josh some food since he did not take a lunch. He's just gonna take a quick bite to eat and get back to it. Hello horses. Run a couple errands for a couple hours, and look what they get done. Looks like he has 1, 2, 3, 4 support beams up on that first section. Hot diggity dog. Great job. You can see they have that first section done. That's awesome. I wasn't gone for very long, and they're gonna finish the remaining 4 sections today, and then the plan was to get the roof on with this tin that's over there this weekend, because they are renting that scaffolding. Those 2 towers that they're climbing up and down are rentals. So worst case scenario, if it doesn't get done this weekend, in the next 2 weeks, he'll rent the scaffolding again and we'll get the roof put on at that time. So I'm just so proud of these guys. They've been working so hard. I'm over here like, I feel like I've been inadequate chipping my wood away. But I mean, I feel like that's very important too, because once we're done with this structure, we're gonna move forward with clearing out more areas as we're gonna build the circle drive. We're gonna start working on the shop. Once the electric is put in, we're gonna cover the trenches. So there's gonna be more clearing of the land on the areas that we're wanting to use. So it's gonna build back up, and I'm glad I was able to catch up this weekend and get all of those piles taken care of so that we're ready to get on to the next project. So it's kind of just tidying up behind the guys, but Josh, he has been amazing. He's literally done so much for us already, helping to make our future homestead possible. So anyway, we're gonna eat, and I'll catch you on the next one.